Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Leonard. I am a principal with Ayers Saint Gross, and I'm the project manager for our wonderful team. I have a lot of people on the call that are really equally responsible for this great work. And when we get into breakout sessions, you will get to meet them in close up and personal and ask them lots of questions. But we just thank you for joining today. And I'm going to dive right in so that we can get to the information. And I don't know if Sherry, you already said this, but please put in the chat things you like, questions. We will save the Q&A for when we're in our breakouts, but we would love to just capture some of your immediate impressions as we go through this presentation. Is everyone able to see?
Yes.
Great, thanks. So we are at a really great and exciting part of our plan. Hopefully many of you have been along with us throughout the last, I guess, 6-7 months. We have been working on the master plan. It's a pretty fast process in order to hit the Board of Curators meeting in June. So you can see along the bottom that we've had a lot of engagement, and we've kind of worked through every 2 months getting to a plan that included detailed assessment of the campus, kind of a diagnosis, concept development to study ideas, and then where we are is kind of a draft final plan that we are reviewing with you all today and some others next week in order to finalize everything for the curators. This process has not been done in isolation. We have had standing committees that we've met with monthly, sometimes bi-monthly, throughout the process. And that has been, we have a core planning team, but there has been a group of representatives that cut across the entire university and both campuses that have served as a working group that have really helped guide and evaluate the plan. We've also met with some focused groups focused on housing and dining, some of the space needs, different thematic groups around innovation and transportation. And then our executive council, led by the chancellor, has really guided the decision-making and making sure it aligns with the strategic direction of the university. And then we're excited to have the meeting in June with the curators. The engagement when we talk about stakeholder groups has been broad, and it has been in focused meetings. It has been in larger group sessions and focus groups. It has included 2 surveys, one specific to the students around housing, one that was a campus-wide. Hopefully many of you participated, that talked about the opportunities and challenges for campus and how you use campus. We had 3 different sessions in March where we reviewed the initial observations and challenges and our planning principles with the community. And then we've been meeting with focused stakeholders, both internal and external in the community. And we really feel that this has helped guide and inform the plan. We have made decisions and changed certain things based on this feedback. And so it really has been an engaged process along the way, which really is reflective of the mission of UMKC. When we started, we knew that UMKC is Kansas City's university. It is unique to many institutions that there are 2 campuses within a larger city. And a lot of the goals of this plan is how to create greater identity and continuity between the physical campuses for both, at the same time having greater connectivity and supporting the larger community of Kansas City. So that was an early framework and something that we acknowledged early on about the physical aspects of the campus. The plan is supported by the strategic pillars in the strategic plan. This is the first plan that responds to the current strategic plan for the university. Things around student success, thriving discovery enterprise, engagement, all are really important to this plan. And that has helped inform UMKC Forward, which was also being developed at the same time as this plan. And this plan responds to a lot of the opportunities put forward in UMKC Forward. We've also been planning during an unprecedented time, at least in a lot of our lifetimes in higher education, thinking about the impacts near and long-term to COVID. And so what that means is that all of this really needs a flexible framework plan for the campus. And so we've developed both a near-term and a long-term vision for each campus that really shows the opportunities for campus, but are not prescriptive in a way that doesn't allow you flexibility to move forward. The physical campus is, there's a lot of things we discussed early on in the process that are opportunities and challenges related to entry and arrival and the overall first impression. But at the heart of your mission is really providing the places and the spaces that can support your mission. And one thing we noticed early on is that your physical, your facilities themselves are in need of renovation and renewal. And so we've looked at that as an important part of this plan, is not only thinking about new opportunities for development, but how you can better invest in the existing assets of your campus to make them better reflect and align with your mission and pedagogy around instruction and research. Our plan is framed around a series of 5 planning principles. These were things that we've discussed with all of our committees. We really wanted to make sure they tie back to the strategic plan pillars and UMKC Forward, and also address those key opportunities and challenges for campus. And so first and foremost, we're focused on student success and how the physical campus can best support the students' needs on campus. Identity and connectivity, the greater role of the institution within Kansas City, but also how you can do internal connectivity east and west within campus and also between the 2 campuses. For the physical environment, how can we elevate the quality and condition of our buildings, landscape, and streetscape? So really thinking about the exterior environment and the buildings themselves and be able to make them improve the quality of those. The impactful engagement around things that facilities, programs, ways that the campus can be leveraged to benefit both the university and the community. Hopefully you'll see a lot of opportunities there. It's one of our questions at the end, is where you see the greatest opportunity for collaboration and engagement. And then finally, an important thing, and we'll touch on it at the end of this presentation, that's important to the entire plan and the mission, is around resiliency and stewardship. How to have fiscal, social, and physical sustainability of your campus. And so we'll talk about some of the ideas that are embedded in this plan to support that. With that, I'm going to dive in and talk about the Volker campus. And then my colleague Dana Przinski is going to talk about the health sciences campus. What we're going to show you is the near-term plan, as well as a bunch of before and after images of the campus, of how it could transform. These are not final designs. They're meant to be inspirational. Any one of these projects would go into a deeper analysis for the design and more engagement with stakeholders. To orient everyone, along the side, this is Troost Avenue. You've got Volker Boulevard. You've got the Kauffman Foundation, MRI Global to the north. You've got Brookside, the new streetcar terminus, Oak Street, and then Linda Hall Library in the center of campus. So this is going to be the orientation we're going to walk through for the near-term plan. First and foremost, the plan is about thinking about strategic renovations. And some of the buildings that, through our analysis, our walkthroughs, the condition, as well as some of the needs, have risen to the top, is thinking about 4747 Troost, the Biological Chemical Sciences building, the Performing Arts Center, and some of your historic buildings in the core, and really thinking about renovation and renewal of those facilities. The near-term plan is paired with some new construction and additions. Most of those are related to student success. And so you'll see new student housing to meet the demand that we determined through this housing and dining study. Additional space for athletics and recreation, some space for innovation and engagement, opportunities along Troost for mixed use development. These can happen really at any time as you continue to think about partnerships. And then plan additions for the block school are all part of that near-term development. What really is transformational, though, that is not just related to buildings, is thinking about the open space, streetscape, and gateway improvements. And so this is a lot of things on this plan that really highlight the different layers of complexity that we think are important for the plan. And so thinking about streetscape enhancements early on to really improve the overall quality and condition. We'll show you some before and afters of that. key gateway locations. A lot of them in the near term are really around this 51st Street corridor, all the way from Troost to Brookside. Opportunity that we think would be really transformational to create a real heart of campus is thinking about making 51st Street pedestrian only between Rock Hill and you already have it down from Cherry to Oak. Also thinking about the extension of 53rd Street and some other gateways and open space improvements will be really important for the near-term plan. So what does that look like? One of the near-term opportunities that we've been really excited about and think is transformational, and one of the foundations of this plan is knowing that the streetcar terminus was coming. And so how can we really think about the gateway and meeting the campus needs, as well as creating a front door to campus along the west side? And so that's really resulted in thinking about more student housing with retail and other opportunities along the streetcar, some additional recreation space. Recreation fields are, they don't exist on this campus to really have true recreation that can serve the students, which is really exciting, and thinking about some other amenities. And so as we think about that front door to campus today, this is Oak Street. These are the stairs that I wish were painted when we were there on campus. I love that photo. You've got the residence hall and 51st Street. And so this after image, again, is an illustration to think about what is the potential to create a new front door. And some of those elements include thinking about a new intersection to really enhance and increase the pedestrian safety, as well as that identity when you come to campus. Leveraging the hillside to create more of a seat stair where you can sit and engage both the university and the Kansas City community as part of that. Enhanced streetscape of trees and sidewalks and planting, adding that residential and some mixed use to really create a heart of campus for the residential experience along Oak Street, we think is really exciting. That extends to, this is 51st Street right in front of the library, and thinking about creating a heart of campus. It's not just about the interior. And so how can you think about creating a pedestrian only environment that would still be accessible to emergency and service vehicles, but that would really establish a central place for people to gather, to have more of a pedestrian environment, increased planting and streetscape, and really just create a new identity and center of campus. That's extended to some of your historic open spaces that can really happen in the near term within the existing infrastructure of these open spaces, trying to activate with furniture, hammocks, academic spaces were all things that, particularly for students, got a lot of attention and excitement to have places that aren't just interior but exterior to collaborate and extend the academic environment. So just a quick view of what we've done at some other campuses where you can really engage different learning environments and furniture to create outdoor environments that are welcoming. I think post-COVID, we've realized that those become increasingly more important. And finally, just from the edges of campus, as we think about the identity, safety, connectivity, Rock Hill is one of those intersections that we've talked a lot about. It came up in all of our meetings as a critical intersection tying the campus together east-west. And so how can we leverage some transformations to the streetscape as well as that 51st Street connection to create a greater environment for the pedestrian, as well as kind of a pedestrian front door. And then if you were thinking kind of behind me would be the extension out to Troost that would really create that east-west connection across campus and a safer environment for students and faculty and staff moving between the two parts of campus. And then finally, all the way to the east, in the near term, there isn't a lot of development along Troost, but there are opportunities for partnership to really change the way that character of that street, particularly in front of your campus, that's more welcoming and engaging, as well as incorporating some different sustainable elements and stormwater management that can really elevate the quality and condition and just create that environment that creates a better front door off campus to the east. So we have our near-term plan, and then there's a longer-term vision that has a lot of capacity for future development. And so what we recognize through this process is the campus has capacity to meet your needs now and well into the future. And we have not been prescriptive, although in our final documentation, we will acknowledge what some of these sites are ideal for. We think it's really exciting to think about some of your academic programs that have a very externally facing mission, that you could have them closer to Troost and really provide the opportunity for the community to come in to campus and serve that well as having some outreach opportunities. There are opportunities for expansion of Atterbury, as well as athletics and additional housing along Brookside. We've also acknowledged that through renewal of facilities, that it might not make sense in the long term to continue to invest in some of the facilities that really have that high FCNI. And so there's capacity for new construction that would allow you to have a significant amount of future development sites on campus as well. And so to keep the plan flexible, we've just acknowledged that those sites are opportunities for future study. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Dana to talk a little bit about the Health Sciences campus.
Great, thanks, Jess. The Health Sciences campus, just to orient everybody, we are looking northeast, and what we have outlined in the black lines are the UMKC owned buildings, so you can see they're labeled there, but we also want to acknowledge that the Health Sciences campus is part of the larger Health Sciences district, so we've added some key labels there for Truman Hospital, Children's Mercy, and Diastole, among others within the district. So the near-term plan is focused on reinvestment of older buildings, medicine and dentistry, along with additions to those buildings shown in the yellow. And those additions help to satisfy space needs for those two schools, but also provide interprofessional and interdisciplinary space, including amenities like informal and formal study and collaboration space, simple things like coffee and food, and a more accessible and modern library space for all of UMKC. We envision that the School of Medicine addition really has the potential to become a living and dining room of the Health Sciences campus, which is really missing today. The near-term plan also shows a new building to the east of the Health Sciences building, if funding does allow. So this footprint has the flexibility to accommodate interprofessional and interdisciplinary space while still maintaining some of the surface parking that exists today. So beyond space needs, one of the biggest challenges of the Health Sciences campus is that the pedestrian experience is frankly lackluster, as the streets are mostly vehicle dominated with lack of cohesive streetscape. So improving the public realm is a relatively low-cost way to significantly improve the campus. As an urban institution, the streets are the way you get from point A to point B, and safety and comfort of the pedestrian should be paramount for both campuses, but especially here on the Health Sciences campus. And establishing gateways, which we're showing in the kind of red pylon diagram aspects, are a way to really define this campus, but also to tie the two campuses together. Shown in the pink boxes are where we're thinking that investment could be made at intersections, but also mid-block crossings, again, to make this campus more pedestrian friendly. So to better articulate what we're trying to show in the near-term plan in terms of pedestrian improvements, we've created a series of before and after sketches like Jess had shown for the Volker campus to really articulate this. So the first one is standing on 24th Terrace, looking back towards the School of Medicine and the Health Sciences building. And the sketch that we did shows how, through a series of improvements to the public realm, like plantings, expanded pedestrian zones, brick bollards, using different paving materials to the intersection, you really transform this place from a car-dominated place to a pedestrian-focused area. It really also enlivens this part of the campus as well. Another place that we wanted to show improvement is along Holmes Street, This is, as you can see from the crosswalk in the image, how you can get from the School of Medicine across homes over to the School of Dentistry and Children's Mercy. And so what we've articulated here is this idea of curb extensions. So pulling the side of the sidewalk in so that the crossing distance for the pedestrian is shorter, and also including different paving materials and pedestrian warning lights, so it makes it safer for pedestrians. And this only takes away just a few spaces of on-street parking, not the whole thing, just to create this really important pedestrian connection. And we have shown this to the other hospitals and to the city, and they are excited about it as well. The other view that we looked at is taking a little bit step further back south down Home Street. And you can see diastole is barely off the screen to the right. And then the health sciences building is in the background. And again, the same concepts that we were showing before. This idea of pulling in the sidewalks at the intersections to create a shorter crossing distance. And again, using materiality to really define this as a pedestrian zone. Also shown here is the opportunity for gateway signage, again, to really brand the campus, but also think of ways to tie the two campuses together. And shifting one block over to the east, we're now looking at Charlotte Street, which has recently been translated to be two ways rather than one way, plus the addition of a bike lane. And so what this sketch proposes for the streetscape is really to build on those modifications by adding additional lights for safety, banners for branding opportunities, and also thinking about ways to just pull the pedestrian a little bit further away from the street, again, for a safer experience, and to also create a more aesthetically pleasing environment. And then shifting gears a little bit away from the streetscape and more towards the open blocks that are on the southeast portion of the campus. We looked at different opportunities to leverage the land in the near term to activate the campus and meet the needs of both the district and the broader community surrounding the campus and the health sciences district. So what we have shown here are a series of precedent images of ways that that space could be activated for special events like food truck rallies and farmers markets, or everyday use with flexible furniture. So pulling it all together, here's the plan again for that near-term vision. Again, just to reiterate the investment of the older buildings renovation, the opportunities for addition, and then if funding allows, another new building, plus thinking really strategically about the streetscapes and crossings and really creating a pedestrian-friendly and aesthetically pleasing environment. And then wrapping us up for the long-term vision, this shows the expansion of the campus further towards the existing housing, towards the southeast portion of campus to Troost. And this is really to allow flexibility for development, whether it is office space, research space, housing. There's a lot of flexibility there to accommodate programmatic elements in the future, whether it's for UMKC, the community, or both. We've also shown the addition to the interprofessional building shown in the earlier phase as a phase 2, so that could be thought about holistically. And then of course we are building on some surface parking, so just providing the opportunity to replace that parking in structured garages, whether it's an addition to the existing garage or a new garage. And again, these are all kind of longer term decisions to be made in concert with just the parking strategies at that time of development.
As I mentioned earlier with the planning principles, fundamental to the whole plan is thinking about resiliency and stewardship. And so at the planning level, there's things that we can recommend and put into motion that can help inform implementation. And the icons and words on the left are things that are that are directly incorporated into our thinking and our plan. And then the things on the right are more operational and programmatic that we recommend, and we know that the institution is thinking about to continue to incorporate. These can also have financial savings impacts, social equity, and sustainability that are really important to continue to think about for the overall campus. But just a few ways to make sure. A lot of it at the plan scale you can't tell, but I hope you saw in some of the renderings ways to think about the landscape and incorporate more native plantings and stormwater management and still have beautiful active landscapes. Within the parking areas, ways to incorporate more stormwater management as well as plantings. Even solar is something that is we've done and seen as options in parking. I think I saw some in the chat. We definitely want to think about bike infrastructure, and I think a lot of, particularly because it's an urban campus, thinking about partnerships with the city and how to incorporate bike lanes. We, in some of our early things, were even more aggressive about how much street we took away. So I think making sure not only the street provides it, but the campus provides parking as well as opportunities for fixing and maintaining bikes is really important. Ways to acknowledge and celebrate and inform and educate are important as well as you think about the sustainable efforts you have around campus. And we know that the public transportation and the extension of the streetcar are only going to help enhance the way you can connect and get to campus through alternate means of transportation. The exterior environment is very important, but we also know that buildings are one of the greatest consumers of carbon and energy and waste. And so the ability to renovate and renew and add additions is a way to eliminate that waste and reduce the carbon footprint of the environment. And so this is a project we did at Kent State, but looking at how through buildings that you can renovate and add additions can leverage. And that's a lot of what we've been talking about. As you saw, the School of Medicine, even the science and chemistry building, dentistry are ways to do that. And that also provides interior renovations that really provide spaces where students from diverse backgrounds, even faculty and staff, can come together and really have more enriching. And these collaboration spaces are so important that these renovations will provide that type of space. I really appreciate that there's been an active chat. We encourage you as we move into breakout rooms to bring some of those questions. We're also capturing them here. There is a website where you can continue to provide feedback. All of this will be posted. But as we move into breakout rooms, what we would love to hear, in addition to any questions, is what are you most excited about with this plan? What do you think are the biggest priorities or areas that will be the most transformational for campus? And then what are the opportunities that you see that provide collaboration, whether that's internal collaboration between colleges or departments, or schools, or if it's external collaborations and partnerships with the city or the community that can really advance your mission around impactful engagement. So with that, I'm gonna stop sharing and let Troy send us into breakout rooms. And I just, again, really appreciate the time everyone has spent with us today.